underserved community. It's part of the whole economic system, those who make it through, which schools have more funding, and those who have less. What are the tools and strategies to address that? So I trust you that you will enjoy the presentation from a subject matter expert, the dean of our school, Dean Joanne R.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I am so happy to be here. David this morning took my breath away when he gave me that introduction. I was like, oh my goodness.
Wasn't it great though?
It was a great introduction, David. What you giving my hand? I was like, oh my gosh. And it reminded me of one of our friends that we've lost, Mark Jones.
Yeah.
And you know, this is like a little family. We get together maybe once or twice a year. We share papers. We're friends. We're happy when we see each other, and we wait till the next time. So I don't want my time to go because I usually have my little timer, but someone keep me honest. Give me a 10-minute warning and a 5-minute warning. 10 minutes I should be halfway through. Okay. All right. So I'm going to talk to you about tech-enabled futures, elevating education in underserved areas. And this is truly special to me. I just want to give Dr. Dada his props. We, a few years ago, a group of scholars wanted to publish a book on the future of work and entrepreneurship for the underserved. And we went to Dr. Dada and we said, this is something we really want to do. Two of my colleagues from Keynote University and myself, and we put out a call for proposals. And scholars from all over the world sent in papers. My good friend, I'm just blanking on your name right now. My good friend had a paper, and I just said, this is how we should do it. We should support each other. We should work with each other. We should collaborate, and not just during the time of the conferences, but all throughout the year. And so this body of work comes after 3 volumes. The first was the future of work and entrepreneurship. Then we had one on sustainability of the future of work, and then we had another one on communities. And again, the scholars from all over yield to the call. But academics typically listen to academics. And so these books were mostly reference books. In fact, some of them, the price points were really for libraries. And so it was out of the hand of the normal, everyday person, like the community leaders and the policy folks. And so what I wanted to do was to produce a body of work that would be accessible to those in the community, those business people, and others. So let's continue. This is the table of contents. And oh, by the way, hopefully the book will drop in Amazon either today or tomorrow to coincide with the conference.
All right. Let's all look for it on Amazon.
Both the ebook and soft copy, the hard copy will come back later. But these are the chapters, and each chapter has a specific message of what we can do to make a difference for technology, because technology isn't going away. And I will share a little bit about how the industry is going to ensure that technology not only stays, but even progresses. And the challenge is, how do we keep up? How do we, as in the academy, keep up where the industry is driving us and where the workforce needs to go? So those are the chapters. But I like to always start with the why. And why are we doing this? Well, you already heard parts of it this morning. There is a digital divide, and the pandemic made it worse, not better. There was less access, less awareness. Even though there might have been desire, the resources weren't there. So the very first chapter, I talk about the digital divide. And I'm going to share with you, I'm enamored with the technology, old girl that I am.
There you go.
In the very first introduction, I did a text to video, meaning I put the first paragraph into the software and it produced this
The digital divide exceeds a mere matter of access. When you limit access, the basis of consumption, you hit other critical areas like education and healthcare. Lack of access worsens life quality and creates a demand for immediate action. Let's therefore unveil the global digital divide and its consequences. Let's see how technology may bridge this gap and help us build a more equitable future. We must access, engage, educate, and empower.
No real actors, this just came out of the AI. So for those of you who are preparing lessons and you want to go above and beyond the written word, the AI can do it for you now. So the curriculum needs to change for the digital age, and the time is now. And I'll talk to you a little bit about how Microsoft is driving it, but here is another example of text to digital.
Digital age.
And this is in the book, but now you can see it.
Evolution of educational environments from traditional classrooms to the digital era. Let's start with a glimpse into the past. A late 20th century classroom with wooden desks and chairs facing a chalkboard. On the chalkboard, Albert Einstein's quote, "We cannot solve today's problems with yesterday's thinking," is written in a creative, chalk-like font. The scene evokes a sense of nostalgia and the importance of evolving educational methods. The 1980s brought the introduction of bulky desktop computers into the classroom, symbolizing the early stages of digital learning. Students are seen learning to use these new technologies with curiosity and excitement. Fast forward to the 2000s. Smartboards began to replace traditional blackboards. This significant step towards interactive and digital learning environments shows a teacher interacting with a smartboard while students watch attentively. In our current era, classrooms have transformed with the use of tablets and laptops, facilitating a fully digital and collaborative learning experience. This represents the full transition to digital learning, highlighting the importance of technology in education today. In conclusion, the evolution of educational environments reflects our society's shift towards embracing digital solutions to enhance learning experiences. This journey illustrates the importance of adapting to technological advances to meet the educational needs of future generations.
Okay, so the end of the scope is very important. You saw not a person in K through 12, not a person who is in the higher ed, but it was an elderly senior on the system trying to access what is available now. So the learning is not just going to stop in the educational system. It's going to be on the ground all throughout our lives, and that clip was powerful in showing the end of it. So the curriculum, how do we have a curriculum that will meet this digital requirement, this digital age? And I'm just going to step out a little. Well, no, I don't have to step out. Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you,
Okay,
Jane.
yeah. So there is an urgency because the academy has been slow to adapt. It's not the industry, it's not the students, it's the academy itself that's been slow to adapt. So we need to make a change to help bridge the gap from the traditional education system. As you saw in the previous slide, education is happening everywhere. Training is happening everywhere. It's happening in and outside of the classrooms. So now here we also talk about the challenges and the opportunities in digitally evolving society. Now I can't go out because when I go out I can't get back in, but what I want you to know that is in March, Microsoft announced a new platform where they're putting AI in every single application they have. I hear some professors saying, I don't want AI in my classroom, I'm gonna borrow. You won't be able to get it outside of Office. So exactly,
Wow.
It's gonna come hard-coded, the AI in Excel, in Office, in Teams, it's gonna be in everything. And it's not something that they are just thinking about. They've already put the pilots out in both the K through 12 and in higher ed around the world. And so once they finish pilot testing and they already finished the pilots, it is going to be released In fact, I think the release has already been done because the announcement was in March. This is April. So everything new that comes from Microsoft will already have AI resident. So all of you AI haters, you're lost. So where's the revolution and innovation for the digital age? It's evolving, and you know, a lot of times we shy away from things because we don't know, but that where we learn is in the experience and in experiential learning. So we need to introduce some of these things, and some of us are already doing it. Well, we at Mega, we had a workshop for our faculty, and we had people from all over. This is just when COVID had hit, and we were talking about it online, and so we brought in people from all over the world here, not over the world, all over the country, telling us what they did. We found that we were doing some of the same things. The flipped classroom is there where, you know, much of the learning is happening outside and then come back in, and there's peer-to-peer engagement. So you're more like a facilitator, and the students are really learning themselves and then coming back and learning from their peers. And gamification. The students that we have of today, they're already into the technology. Many of them are more tech savvy than some of us. And so what you find is if you can gamify, we talk about student engagement, but many of the students don't like to read. I don't know if you guys have that problem. And some of them don't like to write. But if you can find a way to gamify what they do, they will be more engaged, they will be more interested, and they probably will learn faster and better. And so a lot of the work is in how to gamify some of the learning that needs to happen. Enhanced learning with the exploration of augmented reality and virtual reality, collaborative learning. I can talk a little bit about our students here in MEC. Last summer, they actually, it was funded, and the book talks about private-public partnerships, and much of this work can't be done in isolation or alone, and the private sector understands that they need to help us to get the workforce ready. But one of the things that they did was they developed new businesses in the metaverse, and they were able to actually do the presentations. So and it wasn't just Mega students. They funded us to have high school students and GED students. GED, the general education, meaning that they didn't get their diploma from the high school, that they got it from studying and then taking the standardized test. The GED part was important to the donor industry because many adult learners don't have a chance, for whatever socioeconomic reasons, to finish in the normal system. And so they wanted us to experiment with combining the higher ed students, the high schools, and the adult learners together to actually function in the metaverse. And so, and we could only do that because we got private sector funding. It could not. I got 5 minutes or 10 minutes? 5. All right.
We'll extend and give you 7.
But thank you for that. Tell me when I got 3 minutes.
Yes.
Okay, so you see this is 4, and that's chapter 4 is equity tools for underserved communities. And all I'm going to say about this is in the book, I talk a lot about Central Brooklyn economic development. We have become partners where we literally had a satellite in their office for entrepreneurship, where we had one of our students who was a graduate student at the time, but it came through Mega and the entrepreneurship program, who was literally delivering entrepreneurship curriculum to K through 12 students. And that's the only thing I'm going to say about them, because you see I'm out of time. But they have a big place in the book. This is a big business. $460 billion.
Wow.
And we need to get our students to be a part of that, either as entrepreneurs or as professionals, so that we can reduce that wealth gap and that income gap. And that's why I talk about this so much. There are ways to help our community if we get our students involved in tech. And not just at the back end, because usually we hear things at the back end and where we're almost out of, we need to find a way to get them at the front end. Professor Mayers doesn't want me to say this, but he got a son. And his son went through at HBCU.
Yes.
And his son was very, very successful and is very, very successful in a tech startup.
Yes.
That's how we do it. That's how we change lives.
Right.
Okay, so I have to keep going because Professor Minnis is going to give me the boot. Teacher training and professional. We can't do this without teachers. Technology will never replace great teachers, but technology in the hands of a great teacher is transformational. Yes. So I'm going to keep it going because I talk too much in the front end. Community involvement, again, I point to our many partnerships. We have many public-private partnerships. I mentioned Central Brooklyn, but we have partnerships with Bank United and several others that we are partnering with. And Professor Dollar just walked out. Community of
There he is.
Yes. That's a 9-year partnership. It took us a long time to get the memorandum of understanding through our system, but once we got through it, we worked it. Partnerships works with individuals, not paper, and I'm not even saying institutions. It is people. Okay, so I'm at my sustainability is not getting it started, it's keeping it going. I'm just gonna breeze through this because I do not want the boot. This is key. And even when we train and educate our students, if they will survive and thrive in this new world, they're gonna have to continue to upskill and retool. Absolutely paramount. And that was the reason for having that elderly lady at the end of the clip to show. And I just want to say this, the work that Microsoft is doing, they are not talking about having a classroom of 20 people anymore. They're talking about having a classroom with the high achievers, the ones who are slow, and having them all move at their same pace, their own pace, but coming out at outcomes at the end. And that's why this is so powerful. If I'm a slow learner, I don't have to keep up with someone who's going so fast. The tools will help me to learn what I need to learn without having to keep up with the super achievers. So that is here now. They've tested it. So let me keep going. Data-driven decisions. A lot of what we do in education and other industries, hasn't been as data-driven as it will need to be or as it is going to be. The AI can do it much faster and will and has been doing it much faster. And we can learn even on an individual level. If you're running a small business, if you use the data, you could have more precision, make more profit. But use the data to inform those decisions. And policy and governments, and this is the last chapter, we can't do it without government. If the laws, if the policies stay the same, you will have the same result. We need resources reinvested and advocacy to our policy leaders so that from the bottom up, they know what we really need, not necessarily what was in the past, but what's, then I can slow down if I got 3 more minutes. See, I was giving you the fast one. Okay, why is this so important? We can't continue to keep talking about the digital divide, the income gap, the wealth gap. I will tell you right now, I'm an economist. The income gap between blacks and whites right now is greater than it was in the civil rights era. There are a lot of structural reasons for that.
Right.
There are a lot of structural reasons for that, but it is fact. And so we are going backwards as opposed to going forwards. How do we change that trajectory? How do we get our policy people behind us? How do we get into the community to get them aware of some of the amazing opportunities that they have? This morning you heard the metaverse doesn't know color. You sit down, you code, you deliver a product or service, you deliver it well, you make money. So how are we, and this is from the business perspective, how are we gonna get from the bottom up, we heard that, from the bottom up this morning, to get more access and awareness, but that's just not enough. It's going to take engagement to get to empowerment. And how do we get the bottom up more engaged and empowered? And we're leaders as academics. And a lot of times, I'm just going to call a spade, we're in our ivory towers. We talk to each other and we don't go outside. This will require multidisciplined, multi-generational. A lot of times people think, well, once you know, you should just go retire and sit down. But a lot of wisdom is in our elders.
Yes.
And then when you get to these corporations and you have all of this, the young people, and they're looking and they're saying, well, how do I solve a problem? Well, we solved that problem, we just went around it, but you're not there. So what I'm advocating for is the solutions of the past did not change the trajectory of where we need to go. So we need to be more innovative, more creative, with new solutions that will really help us change the world. So collaboration is key. No one individual, no one industry, nobody by themselves can make it happen. We need to work together. The global perspective, and the book is very global. I give examples from Pakistan, Bangladesh, Chile, Japan, Kenya, Tanzania. So this is not, the income gap, the wealth gap is not a U.S. only problem. It's not an Africa problem. It's not an Asia problem. It's a global problem. And how long do you think we can exist if the majority of the world continues to be the have-nots and the haves have so much? It's not sustainable. It is not sustainable. So the challenge is, as academics, as educators, of those of us who produce papers, how are we going to get out there and help make a difference? How are we going to go to the communities and make a difference? How are we going to go to the legislature and make a difference? How are we going to do our part? And often I hear folks say, well, I can only do so much. But whatever you can do, if you do your part, the next person do their part, we will have a better world. And I do think this is how the book will look when it comes. Okay, let me go back. Okay, so I just knocked myself out. But I did say thank you at the end. Can you help me get to thank you? Yeah, the last slide. There we go. We thank you.
Excellent, Dean. Well, questions you just heard, right? A wonderful presentation.